Blue Eyes post Battle of Chaos. Let's go. Hi, it's your local dragon lady, and Battle of Chaos came out and I was able to get most of the cards that I need for this build. There is going to be one proxy, but don't worry, I'll explain to you what the card does. So let's get this started. For monsters, we're going to start off pretty standard. We're going to have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. I got 2 ulties and 1 secret, and 2 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragons. You can use 3 if you want, but 2 is the perfect number for this. 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue. This is an amazing card. You normal summon him, you can add 1 Light Tuner from your deck to your hand, so we're going to be going for our eggs. And of course, you can have effect monster on the field. You can discard him to your grave, target that effect monster, and summon a Blue Eyes from your deck to the field. For eggs, we got 3 the White Stone of the Ancients, level 1 tuner. Once this goes into the graveyard, at the end phase, you can sort of summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck to the field, or if it's in your graveyard already, you can banish it and you can add a Blue Eyes from your grave to your hand. Also, 1 White Stone of Legend. Once this goes to the graveyard, you search your deck for a Blue Eyes White Dragon and you add it to your hand. 3 Dictator of D. This card is amazing, and they changed the name. It's supposed to be Tyrant of D, but whatever. That's not important. What is important is what he does. While you control Blue Eyes monster, you can choose the attack targets for your opponent's attack. So they try to swing into this guy and say, no, you're not going to attack him. You're going to attack into my other big beefy monsters. Now the thing is that this guy can also be used as a special summon. So once per turn, what you can do is you can send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or your deck to the graveyard and get this guy in the field. Now, you can discard a Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 card that mentions it in its name, and you can target a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So you gotta make sure that, okay, you want to activate this guy's effect, you can send a Blue Eyes White Dragon to your, to the grave from either source. He comes out. Now, as long as you have the Blue Eyes White Dragon in the grave, you can send another Blue Eyes card to the grave, and you can special summon that Blue Eyes White Dragon from your grave to your field. So this has a lot of good uses. There's a free special summon for him, another free special summon for Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it allows you to extend your plays, go into your extra deck, and do a lot of damage depending what you get out. 1 Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. It's a Blue Eyes card, so you can special summon it off the effect of your Sage, of the White Stone of the Ancients. It's level 8, so that you can get them to your hand through other means. Once you special summon, you can add a ritual spell or polymerization from your deck to your hand. We're not focusing on rituals, but we will be adding a polymerization because it goes into some really good fusion monsters here. Now, if he's still on your field during the end phase, you can add a level 8 dragon monster from your deck to your hand. We have a lot to pick from, so that's really important. Also, if you happen to have a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the grave or on the field, if he's in the grave, you can banish him, and all your level 8 dragon monsters will gain 1,000 attack for that turn. So if he can be useful if you want to swing for gain. 1 Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Just like the Abyss, it's a Blue Eyes card, so you can summon him off the effect of Sage. The egg is level 8. You can add him to your hand. There's just so many ways you can get this guy out and search him up. But as long as he's on the field, all other cards that you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So he's just amazing protection in general for the rest of your cards. That doesn't mean he can't be destroyed, but everything else, including your back row, will be safe. Now, the other effects that this guy can do, you have to have a Blue Eyes White Dragon on your field or in your graveyard. So basically, if a card or cards on your field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card, from the graveyard. So if he happens to be there, bam, he just comes back out. Or even from your hand if you searched him up and added him. Now, at the start of damage step, if this card battles, you can target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So if they have a trap or in the back row or anything that could be causing you grief, once he attacks, bam, you can send that card back to their hand. So this card is amazing. You can try and add 2, but because this guy is so easy to search and special summon, 1 is good enough. And besides, he's reusable. So once it's in the grave or in your hand, bam, he can just come back out anyway. 1 Chaos Dragon Lavinier. We do have a few dark monsters in this deck, so depending on the combination of light and dark that you banish from your grave, you can activate the effect level 8. So it's a free special summon, and you can either pop your opponent's card, you can revive a card from your grave, or you can take a card out of your opponent's hand. So he is very useful, and being a level 8, you can still go into your extra deck for more plays. 1 Galactic Spiral Dragon and 1 Nebula Dragon. This just enables you to go into your rank 8 plays even more. So they're both level 8, they're dragons, they're easy to search up or swap out for. Now with the Spiral Dragon, this one gives you more options. So as long as you have like 2 Dragon Light or Dark monsters, if this is in your grave or in your hand, you can special summon this card to the field, and with this effect you can turn all of your monsters into level 8s. So even if you have a Sage or a non-dragon monster on your field, this will work. You can turn your Sage into a rank level 8 and go into your rank 8 plays. Nebula Dragon is the same sort of thing. If this is in your hand, if another level 8 monster, so you got a Blue Eyes monster in your hand, you reveal it and you special summon them both onto your field into defense position. Now the only problem with this is you have to be careful, because first the other monster's effect will be negated, and once you do this you will be locked into light and dark dragon monsters from your extra deck and for the rest of your deck in general. So make sure the right situation calls for it, but the good thing is if this is in your hand and you don't want it, I do have methods that you can use to swap him out for the other card. So yes, these, and you know, as a light and dark, these are amazing, but yes, one of each is perfect. Last but not least, Freedran, the Winds of Mischief. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out, there's a reason for this. Now, once this card is normal special summon, you can target one face-up monster you control and it gives it piercing damage. So, okay, that's fine for your turn, but what you want to do is you turbo this card out off the effect of the Heavenly Spheres, because during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one other face-up monster in the field, so you can target their monster, and you change its battle position, and when you do that, you return this monster to your hand. So when it comes to your turn, if your opponent's monster, if your opponent did not have the ability to turn it back into attack position, normal summon it, and you can target, well, maybe your Blue Eyes alternative Ultimate Dragon, for example. Give that piercing ability, and bam, you can just do a lot of damage with that card depending on their defense. Now, of course, the fact is, this dragon is also a level 3. So if this happens to be in your grave, you can still get this out onto your field through the effect of the World Legacy Guard Dragon. But regardless, once you use the ability to target a face-up monster and change its battle position, it just goes back to your hand. So it just keeps coming back. Normal summon special keeps coming back. It's amazing. So yes, it's very gimmicky, but it works. For draw power, I have 3 trade-in. There are a lot of level 8 monsters in this deck, and a lot of them can be recurred from the grave, so you're not really losing much when you use this. 3 Melody of the Awakening Dragon, again, standard, so you can use this to search for your Blue Eyes White Dragon, your Blue Eyes Alt, and you can use it to search for your Chaos Dragon Lavineer. Once those are to your hand, depending on what you have, you can probably swap them out for another level 8. So this just gives you a lot of options. Also, you discard a card for cost. So say you were to send an egg to the grave, for example, you get the effect of the egg. 2 Draco Connection. I would like to fit 3 if possible, but 2 seems to work well. This is what you can use to swap out any level 8 dragon for another level 8, because there's so many. So you reveal 1 dragon type monster in your hand, add 1 dragon type monster of the same level from your deck, and shuffle the revealed one into your deck. So if you got a Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand and you really wanted one of the other Blue Eyes cards, or maybe you want to trade it out for the Spiral Galactic Dragon, this is how you do it. This will de-brick your hands. Doesn't mean it is Blue Eyes after all. You might open a brick, but this will fix that problem. 2 World Legacy Guard Dragons. We have a bunch of dragon monsters that are level 4 or lower, so you can use this to revive one of your eggs. You can even use this to revive your Freedran, Winds of Mischief, if it winds up in your grave for whatever reason, and you can just link off, XE summon. It just offers a lot of options. It's a free revival card in my opinion. And if you need to, you can target a dragon monster and you can move it to a different zone on the field. 1 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish Burial. There's some monsters in this deck that it's important you get to the grave as soon as possible to use their effects, or recur them back to your hand as soon as you can. So Foolish Burial just sends 1 monster from your deck to the grave, it's self-explanatory, and 1 Dragon Shrine. It's best to use just 1 in conjunction with Foolish Burial, because Dragon Shrine is once per turn, so at least if both of these cards are in your hand, you can use them both. Dragon Shrine, if you send a normal dragon monster from your deck to the grave, you can send an additional one. But for the most part, most people send 1 dragon. As long as you send the right dragon to your grave at the right time, it is, that makes all the difference. 1 for 1. This card is still really good. You send one monster from your hand to your grave, so depending what you send, you could get a really good effect. And you special summon one level 1 monster from your hand or your deck to the field. So this is really good for getting out your level 1 tuners. One monster reborn because it's one monster reborn. I mean, there's going to be abundance of dragon monsters you can utilize in your grave or something from your opponent's graveyard. For fusions, we have 1 polymerization. This is searchable off the effect of the Blue-Eyes Abyss Dragon, so you only need 1, and 1 ultimate fusion. You only need 1 because you can turbo out off the effect of the Anaconda Verte Link monster. It's a quick play, so you can do a lot of damage with this card. So naturally what this card does is it fusion summons a monster from your extra deck that has Blue-Eyes White Dragon or Blue-Eyes Ultimate Dragon listed as the materials. And you do that by shuffling those materials from your hand, grave, field to the deck. So which is really good because it allows you to recycle those monsters and get them back out. Now the funny thing is this card has the potential to pop 6 cards, and I will explain why. Because once you use this effect, depending how many materials you use to fusion summon your monster, you can pop 3 cards that your opponent controls. Doesn't matter which ones it is. So if you were to use 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragons to get out a Blue-Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, that's 3 cards. So you pop 3 of your opponent's cards. However, if you were to use this during your turn, say if your opponent has a full field, so you activate this, use 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragons to get the Blue-Eyes Ultimate tongue twist out. But here's the kicker. We all know with the Blue-Eyes Ultimate Alternative Dragon, if you were to use a Blue-Eyes Alt in the fusion material, that card can pop 6 cards. So you activate this. 2 Blue-Eyes, 1 Blue-Eyes Alt. Get the Blue-Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon out. Bam! That's 6 cards you can pop. 6 cards. So this card is ridiculous. Quick play. You can use it during your opponent's main phase. Second phase, it's just ridiculous. So I cannot wait to get the real one. And we end the main deck with 3 skill drain. This is just ridiculous. We're allowed to use 3. This is the only trap I'm going to be using in this deck. There are a few others I would like to use, like the Ultimate Creature of Destruction, but I can't seem to find any room. But this is a staple in Blue Eyes decks ever since I've learned about Blue Eyes decks, because if you were to go first, if you were to get your strongest monsters, even if you were to get a vanilla Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field and then activate this card, your opponent may not be able to do anything about it because the Blue Eyes White Dragon has 3,000 attack, and in order to get out a monster that can overtake that card, you usually have to use monster effects. So yes, this card is crazy, 1,000 life points per cost. And yeah, I don't know what Konami was thinking, but yes, you can have 3 extra deck. Let's start with the fusions because fusion is a big feature. So we have 1 Blue-Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. So yes, this guy can pop out 3 cards providing that one of the materials is a Blue-Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. Because remember, once that card is on the field, its name becomes Blue-Eyes White Dragon. So yes, now if you don't use the Blue-Eyes Alt, he'll only be able to pop 1 card. It doesn't matter what card it is, it can be the front row or the back row. But the only thing is that if you use his effect, he will not be able to attack. He also cannot be targeted or destroyed, so he has the same kind of protections as the Chaos Max Dragon. Also, if you happen to use the effect of the Freed Ran, so if your opponent has a defense position monster, normal summon him, target him, give him piercing. It's regular piercing, but still, it can still do a lot of damage if you don't use the effect to pop off cards. 1 Blue-Eyes Tyrant Dragon. I love this card. He is unaffected by all trap cards. So if you have a skill drain or if your opponent has a skill drain activated, doesn't matter. He ignores that, so he can still use his effects. He can attack every monster once, and if he battles, if you have a trap in your graveyard, you can actually recover that and set it into your back row. So if you use a skill drain before and you need to get it back, bam, he can do it. 1 Blue-Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. I love this card. He's sort of a desperation move. He can't be destroyed by battle. He can attack twice. If your opponent were to have a very problematic monster, this guy is amazing removal. If you attack something that's stronger than him, while you will still take the damage, he does non-target banishing. So I always use as an example. If your opponent has a monster that cannot be targeted or destroyed by anything, bam, you know, he just bypasses all of that. So yes, he's really good for any monster removal that, anything else cannot get over. Synchros, I got one Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragon, easy to get out. It's a free graveyard negate. Your opponent cannot special summon numerous monsters simultaneously, and you can tag it out for a light dragon synchro monster, and the target for that is a Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. This is really, really good because if you were to do this move on your opponent's turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls and bounce it back. The only problem is due to the effect of the Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragon, it will be destroyed during the end phase, so you gotta time this correctly on when you want to use that effect. One Formula Synchron, you use this off the effect of Needle Fiber during your opponent's turn. So once it's a special summon, once per chain, you can draw one card. Also, you can synchro summon using this card as material. So if you have a level 8 monster on your side of the field, you go for the Baron de Fleur. This card is crazy. It's a free Omni Negate. Yes, your opponent would activate anything, you can negate it. Also, if you have you can send this card back to your extra deck, and you can add a level 9 or lower monster from your graveyard to your hand. So this can be good for great recursion, but I prefer to use this for the free negate. For extra deck monsters, I got one Relinquish Anima. I mostly have this as a way to get the effect off an egg, so your normal summon that, go into Relinquish Anima, but if there's a monster in a zone that this card points to, you can absorb it and he gains the attack power. One Heavenly Spheres, oh yes. 2 dragon monsters, you can bounce an opponent's monster, it's non-targeting, which is amazing, and you special summon a dragon monster from your deck to the field, but everything is 0, so the main target I use for this is the Friedran, but depending on the situation, you can get another card out. 1% Needle Fiber, I mostly use this for the Baron de Fleur play, but it does special summon a tuner, so it's good for extending your plays. And 1 Protoplant Verity Anaconda for the Ultimate Fusion plays. XE monsters, staple, Hope Harbinger. It's a free magic card negate, and if you negate that card, you absorb it, use a material. If your opponent declares an attack, you can detach a material, and the attack must land on this guy. So if they try to attack a weaker monster, they must attack into him, and of course they could lose life points. Rexy's 1 Zombie Vampire. Holy moly, this card is ridiculous. This was a surprise pull and from the sneak peek. Initially I wasn't going to keep him, but when I read the effects, it's just crazy. It's a generic rank 8. So yes, it's easy to turbo out with this deck. It is a zombie, so you gotta be careful. Make sure you're not locked into dragons when you use this card. But once you actually summon, neither player can target this card with effects, well, special summon monsters, except for those special summon from the graveyard. So it has some protections, but here's the kicker. If you can detach 1 material from this card, each player sends the top 4 cards from the deck to the graveyard. Then, if any monsters were sent to the grave by this effect, you can special summon one of those monsters to your field. So depending on what your opponent's playing, you could steal something from them. And I also have number 23, Lancelot. It's also a zombie monster. Man, zombies. I understand why people play zombies now. Generic rank 8. This guy can attack directly. It's a free monster negate. And the thing is, of course, if you battle with both of these cards, either one of these cards, because they're XE monsters, you could rank up into Zeus. And of course, it is Zeus. So once you do that, you can just clear the board and still attack with him. Absolutely crazy. As always for the side deck, it really depends what's going on at your local, so you do need to plan accordingly, but I have a couple of generic cards that's good that any extra deck could use. So I got 3 Gamma Seal Sea Turtle Kaiju, it gets rid of a problematic monster, 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. There are probably better hand traps you can use, but this is the most generic one. You can't really go wrong with this. And 3 Nibiru the Primal Being. Some people actually main deck this. So I totally agree, if you're going to have any extra deck in this format, this one is essential. 1 Sales Ban. I kind of want to get 2 more. It's basically another version of Prohibition. You declare 1 card name, and for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate those cards. So, if you're going first, you activate this card, say, okay, I want to say Drone Lockbird. Any hand trap that you think will give you grief, they cannot use it during that turn. However, be careful, it's a card that you don't have, because it means that you can't use that card for the rest of the duel. So if you have Ash Blossom in your deck, that's probably not a good card for you to declare. But a discounted version of this would be Prohibition. That works out well. The Crosshair Designator can work, although it will force you to use some hand traps you may not want or need. And we can only still use one Call by the Grave. So, but I mean, I like this card. It's another form of defense against hand traps. One Forbidden Chalice, one Forbidden Droplet. I still only got one Forbidden Droplet, but Forbidden Chalice is a good discounted version of it. You just target a monster your opponent controls, and its effects are negated, although it will gain some attack power. Quick effect, and quick play. And same thing with this one's a quick play. You discard cards, and the number of cards you discard, you can target and negate their effects. And yeah, your opponent cannot respond to this one. That's the main difference. And 2 Lightning Storm and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for the back row hate. So I do have 3 Lightning Storms, but Harpy Feather Duster, you can't go wrong with it. And that, my dragons, is my current Blue Eyes deck post Battle of Chaos. I just gotta get 1 card to finish it to make it playable, but I cannot wait. So what do you think? Have you utilized any of the new cards from the new set? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, remember to be a good sport, to play the game, not the fame. See ya!